Welcome to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. I am your host, Alan Pettigrew Jr. And in front of me are two of my friends. Because one of them has been missing for a while, but we're glad to have you back, man.
Man, it's been like 2 weeks.
I know it's been 2 weeks, but it's been a long 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, 2 weeks is not long in comparison to 3 years.
It
Hey.
feels like a long time.
Right? We do this, what, once a week? You'll come for 2 weeks? It's a long time, bro. It's a long time. Well, go ahead, y'all. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, y'all. Once again, Calvin McGowan. I have been watching a lot of college basketball. It's been fun, and my bracket is kind of on fire.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
What's up, y'all? I've been watching a lot of. No, I'm joking. What's up? Yeah, this is a boy Philip, aka Peanut Butter Kid. Yeah, we're here to talk about basketball, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the people who have been watching way more college basketball than me go ahead and lead the conversation. So Calvin, where you want to start?
That's a good question because on one hand, I could kind of just start by going down the little side of the brackets and what have you, which would be a nice little organized way to do it. But something that I realized over the course of watching the games was that I went and combed through all the data when making my bracket, and I made my decisions and forgot most of what I learned in that process. So, but I guess a good way to start it is like with as I mentioned before with my bracket, I haven't been super wrong. Well, I haven't been wrong a lot. When I've been wrong, I've been very wrong. For example, I had Iowa in my Elite Eight. Yeah, I had Iowa in my Elite Eight, and they just got beat by Oregon in a game which I unfortunately did not watch, but where I heard defense was optional. They ended 95-80. So, but I'm sure it was a fun game, but it happened on a Monday. And so, yeah. Also, Oral Roberts. Let's talk about Oral Roberts for a second. Because it was a 2:15 game, and even though I know better, because I've seen it enough by this point, I did not do my homework for 2:15 games. And so I did not know that Oral Roberts had the leading scorer in the country on their squad, or that he had a really good number 2. And so they went and they beat Ohio State. And how do you pronounce the last name? Max Abmas?
Asmus, I believe.
Abmas?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay, Max Abmas.
You don't know. He had Oral Roberts.
Chill out,
look,
bro.
we had two games to try and figure out how to pronounce his name.
You want to know your name? Go to Ohio State. You're Oral Roberts. You know your name.
That's why he beat them so that we start pronouncing it correctly.
Hey, do his thing, but until this happens and until he get to the league, he ain't know this man's name.
But nah, him and what was the other dude's last name? It's like
like I said,
sir, you're not helping.
But yeah, bro, I really think at this point the formula for a 15 beating a 2 is you got to have one dude that's a pro in Max Abrams. Asmus? In Max's situation, you got to be a pro. You lead the NCAA in scoring, you're pretty much a professional.
Banner. That's what his number 2's name is.
And then have a teammate who is at some point like a conference leader, basically. If you can have those two things, your 15 can beat the 2.
Right.
That seems to be the formula at this point.
This kind of delves into my theory that I talked to you guys about before the podcast began, and I guess this is a perfect way actually for me to introduce it. So I was thinking, why are there so many upsets this year in comparison to previous years? Because previous years you get like the 1, the 2, whatever, right? You You get the Lehighs, you get the Norfolks, you get the periodic ones, right? But this year it was just like happening at an unreal rate, and I was curious why. And what I came up with, and my conclusion was, after I thought about it for about 10 minutes, was the crowd size, right? You will take people who, we've all gone or been to at least mid-major basketball games, or not the premier team basketball games of the college, right? And sometimes those games are hit and miss, and be a lot of people there sometimes, and sometimes don't be a lot of people there. Sometimes them gyms not even that big. You know what I mean? It's just the audience size is at a minimum for what you would expect a D1 game to be. And with the crowd reduction of this year because of COVID, these kids who are playing in those kind of environments don't have to all of a sudden be jolted into the 5,000-10,000 person arenas that every Division I person of the past has been dropped into during the NCAA tournament. So when you take that, you are all of a sudden getting you're all of a sudden getting kids. That outside distraction doesn't matter nearly as much. So it's just skill on skill. And you guys went to mid majors. I went to a mid major. You've seen plenty of mid-majors throughout our lives. Mid-majors tend to be very, very good, but they bloom later on. That's the issue, right? A lot of them bloom later on, and, they aren't as good when they're, being highly recruited out of high school, 16, 17, 18. All of a sudden, they go to college, and especially the ones that make mid-major, right? They say they start coming to their prime about 20, 21, 22. And if you take that into consideration, along with the reduction of the crowd, so all of a sudden, I don't care who you are, when you're used to playing in front of a couple hundred, used to playing in front of 1,000, all of a sudden you're tossed out there in front of 5,000 people, and you're on national TV, your hands clam up. You're gonna be missing shots you usually make. It's gonna be, all the extra things you could possibly come along with being nervous are going to come along in that situation and have for a long time, right? Do you think somebody, for example, at Oral Roberts, that's just throwing out there, is as used to the crowds as somebody from KU is, the University of Kansas? Absolutely not, right? Because even at the end of the day, the University of Kansas, they're used to playing in front of large, raucous crowds, and I guarantee Oral Roberts crowds aren't that large, raucous crowds. You know what I mean? So it's just not the case. Also, these mid-major schools are mid-major for a reason. The population of the schools are lower. So even if it's full, their gyms might not be all the way full just because the population of the schools are lower. So you took away the crowd, all of a sudden, it's just mano-a-mano, skill on skill, none of the extra hoopla. And all of a sudden, this year, we're seeing a bunch of these upsets. And you're like, oh, who's that kid? He can hoop. Who's that kid who can hoop? A lot of these kids are hooping, especially on these D1, like these high-level D1 kids, because they know it's like a play for them to showcase, but there's no extra distractions for them to, fall victim to. So that's why that's what I thought about. What's the difference of this year than past years? And that's probably the most common, the one that kind of stood out to me while I was thinking about it.
I think that.
No, I was just saying I rock with him on that. Go ahead.
I think that might be some of it, but like, just me personally. So like, I feel this year that I think part of it is like I think this year in particular, like even relative to other years, like it's not exactly uncommon. Like there are a bunch of like mid majors in particular that are underseeded. Like they probably should be considered a better team. I think that they're and the reason for this is like, you start talking about like, how you're gonna seed teams and whatever. It's just like, what the resume and whatever. You start talking about the resume, you start talking about, okay, who has this team beat? Like who they played, who have they beat and whatever. And for example, Loyola Chicago, um, their only like really noteworthy games were a game where they lost by 12, like Wisconsin, and I think they beat Drake like 3 times, but Drake's also in the was also in the tournament. They lost their game against USC, but like their best player's been hurt for a minute now. Um, but like they're also considered a top 10 team on Ken Palm, like Loyola Chicago, right? And so I feel like the selection committee tends to look at like resume a lot, which isn't necessarily wrong. But one of the issues that you run into is like resume is very much dependent upon scheduling, and like you can't play teams that don't want to play you. Um, and that is more pronounced in a year where your schedule can go to shit because like you or like a bunch of other teams on your schedule caught COVID or something. And now you have like 3 weeks, no game. Um, or like your big time game got canceled or what have you. And so you get to the end of the season and you don't have the resume necessarily that you would have had other years. Um, Another reason is like Syracuse is a low seed this year, and they apparently are just really good. Like Boheim is just really good at like playing the underdog. I guess he's made it to the second weekend for like the fourth or fifth time. I think underseeded. Like it's apparently just the thing he does at this point. But I guess more to the basic point, I think that's a lot of it. Is just like a lot of teams this year have been underseeded. Um, like Oral Roberts was probably underseeded. Like they
Yeah.
probably like you watched them play. Like probably shouldn't have been a 15. Like
But here's the thing. Here's my question then.
okay,
And you could always make the case for underseeded for most years, right?
hmm
For a lot of for a significant amount of teams, right? Or not enough teams. For a good amount of years previous to this one, you can make an argument for wrong seedings, right?
okay,
But to go along with that, I think that both of those things, I guess this isn't a question, but both of those things go hand in hand with kind of what I'm saying. Well, yeah, they both go hand in hand with what I'm saying. It's, a seeding thing, but at the end of the day, once you go into these gigantic stadiums, you still got to go out there and play in an environment you're not used to playing in.
oh,
The
I mean
environment
like
you're going to play in, you know, uh, Oral Roberts, ACU, those kids, you said it's center 6'5", right? That's what you said, Alan? Center 6'5". I don't know if that was hyperbole or not, but was that
I
hyperbole?
think he was just saying
No,
something.
like
I think he
they
was just
actually have
saying.
a 6'5" post.
Okay, 6'5" post, right? Which in D1, especially in major D1, that's unheard of, right?
Yeah.
But they want they unless
Grant
you're
Williams.
Rodman, right? Whatever. But they lost their first, or they won their first game, right? But do you think they beat that first game if they're playing literally in front of crowds that Texas? They beat Texas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That Texas
Who?
ACU.
Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would make because like something that I've noticed over time is that like again, especially like in the tournament, because like they don't get the opportunity to play these games, and people have chips on their shoulders that in-state like smaller in-state schools always show up in a big way against the big in-state schools. So like even Christian would show up against like Texas Tech or Texas or what have you. So the idea and I think that they would do that and they tend to do that regardless of whether or not there's a crowd. So I mean it might have affected it, but it's also very possible that like we end up with a similar result regardless for that one in particular.
Okay. Because I don't know. I always wonder about like the human instinct though of you know there's no way that every single one of these guys are not nervous. Or like there's like if you go yeah. These whole teams aren't nervous. Like they're people. You know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
they're not Kobe. You know what I mean? Who just has no Chris Rock talking to you on the sidelines. You don't got no expression. Like these are college kids, freshmen, 18 through 22. They gonna get nervous. You know what I mean? And so if you're at least for a little bit, right? And in college basketball, if you nerve for even a little bit, your neck gonna get stopped on. Like that's basketball 101, right? You can't.
I mean, the thing though, right, is it like just because you're nervous doesn't automatically mean you're gonna play like trash.
I mean, there's obviously different kinds of nervousness, right? There's obviously different kinds of nervousness, but like nervousness as like a detrimental to the skills of basketball, I guess. So whatever however you want to label that nervousness. But usually it's like
on the Florida Virginia Tech. Well, I don't know if you saw it.
But usually it's like, okay, we got the Lehigh situations where it's like CJ just going off, or you got Norfolk where it's like win, or it's like what's that?
FGCU.
FGC. Oh, FGCU.
They had pro too.
Everybody's name. Florida Gulf Coast. They were just like a team. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't very much like individual with that team. If I remember correctly, it was like a very team oriented, like free play of many people for that team. You know what I'm saying? If I remember right, you might remember a different.
They still have folks that I think they had a dude that made it though. Like I don't think he stuck, but he got there.
Of course he didn't stick. You can't remember
point guard.
You can't remember. Of course he didn't stick.
I want to say like Pharma or something, but I might be wrong.
Oh, you talking about FGCU?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think that's what Buddy's name. I think that's Buddy's last. Like I don't think he stuck. And I could be completely off. Like I probably am.
He must have not been.
Basketball Farmar remembers Jordan. Like
look, he didn't last long because none of us. We all having trouble figuring out this guy's name. He didn't last.
But I don't even remember the year, bro. Just. Congratulations, FGCU.
Yeah. Do y'all think Lob City from college basketball? Y'all did the other thing that year, right? But I don't know. The upsets this year, though, it's just like I do think in terms of basketball that environment does matter. I mean, if it didn't, then home court wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Environment does matter, and especially you playing like against these, you playing against these traveling teams, right? Or these monster traveling teams, like whose fan bases like really travel. Like an Iowa State or like I don't know, Kentucky if they were not complete garbage. You know what I mean? Like
even if they weren't, even when they're super bad, that fan base still travels.
Okay, waste of money. But like whatever, spend your money how you want to spend it. Use your stimmy how you want to use your stimmy. But it's but I do think environment matters. It's a lot of other things that obviously go along with it, because if that one thing is the case, then like it'd be way more examples of it, right? But to a degree at least, I think that upped the ante to why there could have been so many more upsets. Because I'm just going through Instagram. I've seen an upset every day. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is with this, but I'm seeing an upset every single day, and I'm just like, I feel like if I noticed it this year, I would have noticed it another time. You know what I mean? And it just didn't catch my eye as drastically in other times as it is today, or did the last couple of days, whatever. So
it felt like it was like 4 back-to-back upset wins, like that happened right after each other. Like every time a game was ending.
There were a bunch of upsets, but like I also feel like it's a situation because like a lot of the games that ended up being upset were games that I feel like people were like, yeah, this like people like. This seems like a likely upset or whatever. Like I don't think outside of Oral Roberts possibly, I don't think there were any upsets that came completely out of the blue. Like if there's a team that got upset, pretty much, like the fact that they got upset isn't the most surprising thing in the world.
Didn't everybody think the Big Ten was going to do well, and only one team in the Big Ten is in right now?
I don't remember.
Like everybody thought, for the rhetoric I heard, right? And you hear rhetoric, it's from the mainstream, being Fox Sports 1 and ESPN, and you can make an argument if they know what they're talking about or not. But the rhetoric was that the Big Ten was going to do well, and there's only Michigan in right now, and that's it. And it's just like, okay, you know what I mean? I don't know. Listen, my team's KU. We gonna lose today. We play USC. unless Marcus Garrett goes off again, or which he probably won't because he's inconsistent on the offensive end, or if DeJuan does his thing again. But I don't foresee much of that happening. But fingers crossed, if we do win, congratulations, KU. But I just feel another upset alert. You know what I mean? So.
Nah, it's just like, because like, for example, like Clemson versus Rutgers. I had Rutgers winning that one because just like Clemson didn't seem like they had much offense.
Mm-hmm.
But like the with well, I guess Florida Virginia Tech. That's not an upset. Florida won, but I actually didn't like either team. Like it's like if it's possible to give two teams in an event where there are only two teams, less than a 50% chance to win the game, I would have given them both less than 50% chance to win the game. But somebody has to.
That's disrespectful.
It's just like, because you look at it, right, and it's kind of like one of the things, but with both of them is it for whatever for their own different reasons, they've been wildly inconsistent recently, or like for much of the season, and I'm just like, and it's like you look at it, it's like they seem fine, but it's just like they've been inconsistent. So like they can be good and they can be trash, and it's just and they've been inconsistent going into the tournament. So I'm just like, I don't know, like I don't trust either of them to actually win the game, but somebody had to, and it was Florida, who then lost to Oral Roberts. So because you can't apparently, a team can't stop two dudes. But hey,
Yeah, I mean, has anybody ever had a perfect record before?
I think it's happened occasionally, but it's usually like some lady who let their dog pick, or like so like you hear about it from, like some random person who used some random method. Like I picked based on like whose mascot I liked more or something, or like I just like flipped the coin the entire time, or like I had my baby do
it. Who do you have winning?
That seems very unverifiable.
Yeah, that's just stuff I've heard of, right?
That's why we got the internet. Run that through Bill Gates so he can drop me my money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it Warren Buffett? One of the two.
They're both right.
It's definitely Bill Gates.
Yeah,
hey,
where the money come from?
Who do you? That's fact. Oh, man, that was a realest statement ever. Who do you have winning though, Calvin? As of right now, from who knows in it?
Gonzaga.
Okay.
Like it's like the thing is like Gonzaga is the team, like anybody who's like paid any attention at all probably has winning, or at least in the title game. Because like
that one dude.
Just,
They had that one dude who scored 30. Big, tall, white dude.
Yeah, Drew Timmy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of big, tall white men, but but he really did his thing though. But they got old dude, Suggs.
They got
that guy.
To me, they got Suggs. They have Kispert.
Suggs is nasty. like, and I just found out now. Like, I just found out like the other day that he could have went to any college to play quarterback football, play football as a quarterback also coming out of high school.
You're
was just like huh?
You're kidding, right?
No, not at all. He could have went to any college to play quarterback in high school.
You're kidding. Calvin, didn't we have this conversation at like the beginning of like the college basketball season? How you don't do recruiting, right? Like we talked about this.
Man, I don't listen to what we're talking about, bro. I be here, but I don't be here. Listen, that's y'all world, and I'm okay with letting you do your work. I'm okay with letting you do your world. But sometimes I just be daydreaming. I'm not gonna front. I'll be daydreaming because like high school. Look, I stopped paying attention to high school basketball when I stopped getting East Bay magazine. That's just not my world. I'm a Kansas March Madness waiting for Mookie to get up to the college ranks so I can watch him, just like I did for Zion, college basketball fan, but an NBA fan. I'm an NBA fan. NBA fan, college basketball fan, about February. And then before that, I don't know no more. And that's your world, not mine. So if you mentioned that this man was a dual athlete and could have, went anywhere to play both basketball and football, then I'm highly sorry. I'm highly sorry. But I know now.
You are highly sorry. Do your research when you come on the show, big dog.
I, I,
But
I did.
anyway, but like, yeah, Gonzaga is the team that like anybody with any sense is like they're winning it because like they have two dudes who are like who average just shy of 20 a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Suggs averages double figures. They got a bunch of other good players. Like for example, and granted, like I didn't really see much of the first half of the Gonzaga Oklahoma game earlier today, but looking at some of the tweets is just like Oklahoma played an amazing first half and they were still down. Like the kind of game where if they're playing any other team, they're up by double digits. But they're not playing any other team, they're playing Gonzaga, who who can do basically whatever they want, whenever they want, as a team.
That's what happened
Like
when you got like 4 or 5 future NBA players, bro. Like you can get like have you seen the point differentials so far? Like did you see the point differential for Gonzaga and Norfolk?
like Gonzaga's beaten every rank. Like the only team they haven't beaten by double digits this season is West Virginia, I think, who they
Mhm.
beat by like 5. But everybody else has been double digits. They played their games in the with like in conference play. That's supposedly like they played poorly and won anyway. Like they're a problem. Like watch one of their games next week. Like for real. Um, but like this year, right? It's basic like coming into the tournament. It's basically them and Baylor and everybody else. But like even Baylor has like a clear vulnerability in that like if you can chase them off the line or like get in their face and make them shoot poorly from three, they're gonna have problems. Like in the games that they lost, that's what happened. They didn't shoot well from three, and they don't get to the line. Like they don't, and they don't shoot well when they're there. So like there's a clear blueprint to beat Baylor. Whether or not you can pull it off is a whole separate question, but it exists at least. Gonzaga, there is no such proof on how to beat them.
You know, it's really nice to see that Gonzaga might go like completely undefeated this year and win the championship. Like that just makes for a really good story, right?
When's the last time Gonzaga won a championship?
I don't think Gonzaga has won
They
a
never have.
championship. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see.
the
I
last
kind of like that. Never mind.
like the last time they went was like 4 or 5 years ago. They still had Hachimura on the roster.
It's just easy jokes to be like, yeah, Gonzaga, they doing real good this year, and then they lose and don't win a championship again. So like this year, it looks like that those jokes are gonna have to cease from existing anymore for like the next 20 years at least, because it looks like they're on their way to being an well, all the good players in the mid major market. You know what I mean? Like that rhetoric's gonna be completely gone now. And RIP to the Gonzaga jokes because it's about to be a wrap for us.
Um,
As college basketball, if you want to be an elite level hater, all you have to do is have the mindset of what have you done for me lately. In 2022, we can go back to saying, especially if they don't repeat, we can just go back to saying that they don't win.
I think my Duke
Because it's going to be a
hatred.
while before they win again.
I think my Duke haterish or hater aneurysms. I don't even know what the word is. I think my Duke. It's not really hatred. It's just my clownish takes on Duke satisfy me enough for all of college basketball. Honestly, because do I hate Duke? Yeah. Do I like Jason Tatum? A lot. Do I like Brandon Ingram? A lot. Do I like Zion Williams? A lot. But I think, Tyrus Jones, I hate him. So like it's like I think my Duke like unreasonable hate is enough for him to carry me over for at least 5 years without Gonzaga being in the mix too. Which I don't hate Gonzaga. I just think it's fun to make fun of them. I, where I, the average person doesn't even know where Gonzaga is.
Spokane,
I'm not even
Washington.
gonna pretend. I think my mom just told me like she thought it's
Spokane,
in like
Washington.
Florida or something. I don't remember
Talk
where
about
exactly she
this.
said she thought it was. I know where it's at, but I can understand people who don't pay as much attention not quite knowing.
People
'Cause
need to say Kansas State. People need to say Oregon State. Ohio University. If they don't send them like that, they're like, ask people where Oral Roberts is.
Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, not you. Not you.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Oral Roberts is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very Christian school named after evangelical. Now,
Nice.
why do I know the history of Oral Roberts? I don't know. Because I'm a history guy, I guess. There's literally absolutely no reason why I know that, but I do, but like that's why I know where Oral Roberts is. I don't know how to. Who's the last person to hoop at Oral Roberts that we know the name of? We don't even know the names of people today.
In fairness, I mostly didn't know how to pronounce the name.
Yes. It's
Oral?
Asmus, by the way.
What?
Asmus.
Abe Smith.
I looked it up.
All right.
He looked up. How do you enunciate this?
Oh, I had to, bro. It's killing me.
No, I'm mad at it though.
Yeah.
But nah, Alan, who do you think's gonna win the entire thing? Be fun, Alan. Be fun. Don't say Gonzaga. Be fun.
No, I can't do it. I'm all for the chaos. After the way they ragdolled Kansas, I was fully on board, and then they ragdolled everybody else, and now they're probably just going to ragdoll everybody else. Like, I
That's
don't
what
think
it seems like.
Creighton will be like the better competition, but I don't think Ohio's going to do much against Gonzaga if they win. And then,
It's looking. It's at least right now. It looks like Creighton might. It's probably gonna win.
Creighton almost got him up by 20.
You said what?
Creighton almost beat them by 20.
There's still a lot of game left though.
Yeah, like
it's college basketball.
Yeah,
Let's come
like
back
it's
to
just not really hard. And then you look, if Kansas pulls off the win, we already know what happens there. USC, that's a decent change of pace, but I don't know if USC has like 1.5 pros right now, as far as I'm concerned, coming out of the front court.
KU has none.
I'm not really worried about them winning. Like at the beginning of the show, I opened up with them losing to USC. I don't really think they're going to have too much for Evan Mobley. But on the off chance that it happens, and then with UFC 1.5 pros in the front court, that's not enough to stop Gonzaga. They got like 2. And then Oregon and Oregon, what they gonna do to Gonzaga? That's a flaw in the windshield. Like it's really up to them.
Man, it went from upset. This is so fun to we already know who's gonna win real quick.
Well,
I mean, that's usually what happens in the Sweet 16, right? Where it's like, okay, we know who it is.
Yeah, it starts.
I mean, that's not true
like
though.
The second weekend starts getting like a lot of chalk.
That's not always true though, because since I've been paying attention to college basketball, this has been like I started paying attention to college basketball in like 2008, right? So I can't speak to before that, but since then, I can remember only being one team they're gonna win. That's the Anthony Davis team. That's the only, and KU was in a championship against them, and I was like, I'm gonna hype for this because I just know we're not gonna win. You know what I mean? Like the Anthony Davis Kentucky team is the only team I remember where it's like is gonna win. People wanted to feel that way with RJ Barrett and Zion, but like they didn't. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, the team dynamic didn't look as seamless. This Gonzaga team, the team looks seamless. Just like the, what is that, 2012 Kentucky team. So it doesn't happen that often, I guess.
And it's like the thing where I think the difference between like, that Kentucky team and this Gonzaga team and a lot of other, like teams that finished, best team in the country and all that is like there's a level of dominance there in the games that they've played. Like, I remember in that championship game, right? They were talking about that Kentucky team and like, you can count the number of minutes they've been down all season on one hand. Like, there's a level of dominance that Kentucky team and to this point, this Gonzaga team has had that like very few other teams have had.
Yeah, they always have. They always. I mean, all like there's that, and they just have that player where you're like, they might not lead their whole team and everything, but they're just like, oh, he nice. Like he nice, and that was Anthony Davis, right? He was just like flat across the board and everything, but you were just like, yeah, in 5 years he's nice now, but in 5 years he's gonna be like stupid. If and that would have been the case if he just wasn't hurt all the time. Suggs is like, yeah, he's stupid. Like he's like that. He's like that good. You know what I mean? So there's like a lot of like similarities in like there's a lot of serious similarities in those teams that like you can definitely look out and be like, this is gonna be the case. Now, do I hope do I hope it's a little more interesting than that? Yeah, but it won't be.
I mean, like it's probably not as far as the Gonzaga part, but like there are plenty of games left to play for everybody else because everybody else has flaws. But also like I picked Houston to be in the title game, and we'll see how that ages. Mostly because they'd be playing Baylor in the like hypothetically, if my bracket were completely correct, like they'd be playing Baylor in the Final Four, and like I said, Baylor has issues when they can't make threes, and Houston is very, very good at making you a terrible team shooting, just kind of period. Like one of the best defenses in the country. And truth be told, if hypothetically, right, either Houston or even like Loyola Chicago were to run up on Baylor in the Final Four, Baylor has a similar problem of like trying to get their offense going against teams that are very, very good at making sure teams don't do what Baylor likes to do.
That old woman still there?
Huh?
That old lady?
Oh, Sister Jean or whatever, yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if she was still kicking.
Oh yeah, she's old as dirt, but she's very much alive.
Okay, that's good. It was a genuine question about a lot of you, but I don't think Alan realized it was a genuine question. But
no, I have a great joke. We'll save it all for here.
This is completely wild. I already know it. Let's see. What Michigan's currently playing LSU, and we'll see how it plays out. But I expect Michigan to lose that one.
Okay, I don't want them to lose because support all black head coaches. But yeah, I got you.
No, that's fair. Like the reason is just like Livers is hurt. He's one of their better players and I'm pretty sure their best rebounder. And like I kind of just like without in part without him, especially on the board, they're not really gonna have any answers for Trendon Watford in particular. Never mind the freshman they got who's averaging like 22 a game. But yeah, but it's why they play the game. That's why the game is getting played right now.
Very true.
But yeah, and also I'm not gonna comment on the women's bracket because my women's bracket is kind of trash. So yeah.
I mean, can we talk about the weight room though?
Oh, bro, that
was the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yo, you.
Oh my gosh, that's
okay. Terrible. That's hilarious.
They did exactly what they should have did. You're supposed to get made fun of feverishly.
Wait, I'm sorry.
It's HR
hold up. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, all right. I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm good. All right. Run this back. Rewind just a little bit. Okay, we're talking about the women's weight room and the fact that like they only gave them like a handful of dumbbells.
Bro, that's first set up at our apartment, bro. We got this little trash little in-home gym set up. Like that's what that looked like. I was
It's
That
like
was,
this would be a bad hotel room work like gym.
it was legitimately the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen somebody professionally do. I was like, "Are you like?" It was mind-boggling. Like, and once she did the comparison with the men's and the women's, I was like, "This is crazy, man."
Bro, it's looking like the La Quinta Inn. Please, okay, I gotta ask. Was that the same facility?
Yeah,
Like they were staying in the same exact place. There's no way. There's no way you thought that was flawed. There's no way that part was finished. There's no way that part was fully finished.
bro. The men's side looked like the World CrossFit Games, and the women's side looked like something you would find in a Motel 6.
Bro, La
I was
Quinta
like, "This is so
Inn.
wild, man." Why
Bro,
did they? Why didn't they have like they
that
didn't
mug
even
right
have
next to the
like the
breakfast nook.
multi-purpose machine? You know what I mean? Like the ones like at the pull down thing and the leg thing for the quads. Like they didn't have none of that. It just had some dumb. What you? Women got it rough, man. I tell people this all the time. Women got it rough in this world, but women athletes they got to deal with some disrespect now.
I do think they remedied it though. Like
Yeah.
no, like they got a better one now. But
Yeah,
like
they had to.
Let me tell y'all what is the funniest thing about all of this. Did you guys know that Dick's Sporting Goods
bro, I
is
saw
the
that.
company that rescued the NCAA?
It is.
Like they supplied all of the equipment. When I tell you the only thing I could think of when I saw that is Dick saved the girls. That's literally it. Dick saved the day. Like that's the only time that you can say that, and it's not a negative connotation. When will we ever have this childish fantasy again? When we can say this?
Word.
Was that?
So fantasy is a strong word.
Okay, this is the reason why I
but
say childish.
but I mean, yeah, you can play jokes all day long, right? You can say jokes all day long, you know, um, dick jokes and women ain't got no rights jokes, and women got better in the day. That was one. That was easily one of the most disrespectful things I've seen towards specifically women basketball since I've been paying attention. And we all found out through TikTok.
Hey, use what you got.
You're right. Use what you got. That was nuts.
And that's how I know the world is changing, bro. We out here finding news on TikTok. You remember when it was Twitter? Everything was Twitter.
A lot of stuff still is Twitter, really.
Yeah, but like that's like the second or third time that has been like breaking news from that platform. It's interesting.
TikTok's so easily accessible
Yeah.
in terms of like video. You know what I mean?
Like video.
And it's the new kid on the block. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's gonna be something else, and TikTok's gonna be to the wayside. TikTok's gonna be the Twitter, and Twitter's gonna be the Facebook, and the Facebook's gonna be I don't know the AOL chat. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be it's the law of the land when it comes to the technology, I guess.
Yeah. Unless y'all got something else, I think this is a good stopping point. We out here talking about social media platforms.
Dealing with basketball, come on now. That's not like we just talking about social media platforms, bro.
I mean, I think
Social
we
media
touched on
platforms
most
connected
things.
to sports? Lame. What?
Like I think we touched on most things. What we already mentioned, of course, Loyola Chicago, manhandled Illinois. I'm sorry, I'm still hung up on that. It's just like because Coburn is like one of the biggest, most physically imposing big men in in the country, and like you just get manhandled by a dude if you throw some overalls on him to be a Mario impersonator. Like, come on, he can play basketball. Don't get me wrong. He's like Krutwig is a very good basketball player, but
Come on.
like it's just
Get out there,
like
man.
I
Plumber,
I
bro.
expected better from Illinois. Is what
Colin's
I'm
so
saying.
distraught right now. He's so distraught.
It it's just like you should have seen it. It's just like they manhandled Illinois the entire game.
I gotta ask, how did they do against Ayo Dosunmu? Like what I've seen
Like
like in the other games, like I just didn't watch that game. Like what I've seen in other games, like the athleticism is probably pretty hard to stop for most guards. Like, was he able to kind of get what he wanted, or what was going on
Let
there?
me pull up the numbers because I wasn't super locked into that particular aspect when I tuned into the game, but my understanding is he disappointed. Um, let's see. Yeah, Desudmu, I think for the only time this season, did not reach double figures. He had 9 points on 10 shots.
No, y'all gonna be locking up. I appreciate that. I'm probably not gonna watch until they get like to the Sweet 16. Be honest with you, but
do you mind if I real quick, just kind of before we head on out, if I just speak some NBA truth real quick, just real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So at the moment, LeBron James has a high ankle sprain, and I literally thought LeBron James would never get hurt my entire life, and I don't know how to feel about it right now because I'm like, he's human, but like, LeBron, don't be human, but like, he's human. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not quite sure how to feel about his high ankle sprain, even though it's a high ankle sprain, and that's like the most detrimental injury he's ever had in his career. So, you know, it is what it is. Is LeBron James' body breaking down? I don't know. I think that's the first thing. Secondly, I think it's very ironic that Blake Griffin hasn't had a dunk since 2019, and the first points he gets off of in the Brooklyn Nets is a dunk, and I think it's hilarious. Three, Lonzo Ball is like there's conversation about him being traded to the Clippers or the Clippers wanting Lonzo Ball. Granted, I don't understand why that's the case. I know they lost to that. You know, I know they lost. You know, the last before yesterday they lost 2 previous games before that against Portland. But the first game they shouldn't have lost, and this man had 17 assists in that game, and you know 17 assists and 25 balls from Zion and Brandon Ingram. And it's been proven that Brandon Ingram does not play nearly as well without Lonzo as he does with Lonzo, and Zion gets all his points in the paints from almost from pinpoint passes from Lonzo. So I don't understand why they want to trade this man. They don't want to trade him. I don't understand why the conversation even trading is even brought up when you know that's a solid big three, especially moving right now. What's that?
I just said the Clippers are probably just like trying to get something started. Cause like I can see why they would want him. Like you said, I'm not sure why the Pelicans would want to move him though.
The Pelicans probably don't want to move him. It's probably just like you said, Calvin. It's probably some like you know what's it called? Fog in the I don't know what the saying is. Huh?
Y'all know Lonzo declined his extension.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I don't think he either is going to be asking for the bag this summer or he not coming back. And I think they're just trying to get something out of him before he goes. But something out of him is probably gonna be like a first round pick in like Lou Williams or something. And then
I don't think he's gonna go. Okay, if he does go, I don't personally think the smart move is for him to go. He might go. I don't think it's a smart move for him to go. But if he were to go to the Clippers, I also wouldn't be mad at that because having him on a team with Paul George and Kawhi and everybody else who can't get their own shots but needs like pinpoint shots to like the shooter's pockets or whatever, that would be a very good situation, right? Especially for the Clippers, it'd be good both ways. 100%. 3 or no, this is 4. 4. Dame Lillard won't win MVP this year, but I think you can make a strong argument that there is nothing Steph Curry does better than Damian Lillard. You can make a strong argument he does nothing better. He is just played for the Golden State Warriors, who had an elite front office at one point, who got players around whatever, and Dame Lillard is playing for the Portland Trailblazers, and you know while Steph Curry does all the fancy layups, Dame Lillard makes the layups also. He just doesn't, it's not as finesse, right?
Boy.
You know what I mean? And he's more athletic. You know what I mean? But I think you can make an argument this year for sure. And I've been trying to make the argument for years, but I think it's more pronounced this year, especially since it's more of Steph Curry on his own, just like Dame Lillard has been on his own. No offense to CJ or whatever. but like more on his own for years. This is more. This is like you're able to see like the eye test one on one. This guy with this, Steph Curry with that, Dame with that, and I think you make a strong argument that Steph Curry does not do one thing better than Dame Lillard or Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard should win MVP, but he won't win MVP.
Wait, hold up, pause for a brief moment. I'm sorry, but like, correct me if I'm wrong. Granted, I think Embiid is currently injured, but like, weren't the front runners to this point like Embiid and Jokic, and
LeBron,
probably LeBron?
Jokic, LeBron, Embiid, yes.
Hmm.
So he had since two of them are injured, but if they give it to Jokic, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? Just because like it's more than just basketball. It's overseas branding. It's at the end of the day, I don't care what you say. It's having a white dude as an MVP of the NBA is a good look for like the future. You know what I mean? Of kids wanting to play basketball growing up, whatever, instead of going to NASCAR or whatever they do.
I'm not the kids playing basketball and the NASCAR kids, the same kids.
I mean,
especially not NBA ones. Like
I said as a joke, but I think it came off serious. It was definitely a joke.
You said it. You said it deadpan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My dry sense of humor. My bad.
I knew it was a joke.
Okay. I really. Yeah.
It's like it kind of see. Yeah.
Okay. NASCAR.
We're good.
NASCAR. Better. Okay. That's what it is. I wasn't sure if it
actually should have just kept it the way you said it the first time. You know what?
Okay. My bad.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So those are the 4 or 5 things that come off my mind that I wanted to just throw out there. Do what you will. But yeah, those are 5 things I want to get out there.
Phil's 5. Okay, we got a segment. Let's go.
Ooh. Hey. Sorry.
But also, even though y'all established no one cares, Aaron Gordon didn't request the trade.
Even though y'all established, no one cares.
Yeah, like y'all know. Yeah, like you don't care.
Look,
truth be told, it is what it is.
I mean,
he apparently wants to go to a contender.
Allen said he didn't care. I didn't say that because I think Aaron Gordon. I think we have to give props to the man who got second place, deserved first in the greatest dunk contest of all time. So I think that Aaron Gordon, we need to pay him his respect by caring where he wants to go to, right? I think we need to give him his due respect in that manner.
I'm fine.
I mean, he's been good for a while. It's just like he's been in Orlando, and like they haven't put much around him in Vucevic for real.
I would have. I trust you. I full blown trust you in saying he's been good for a while, but I'm an NBA guy. And I have no idea because he plays Orlando. So, like,
exactly.
smart for him to get out. Or smart for him to want to get out. Because I have no idea what his man career. I just know him
for years.
The other day, I saw him playing. I was like, oh, he's got a new tattoo. That's how long it had been since I saw this man play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch Orlando since Dwight.
I mean, you'll find no argument for me. Like, I never watched Orlando. So...
yeah. And I do not want to come off as a hater on this. I have been watching Aaron Gordon destroy humans since he was like in the 10th grade with like Ball Is Life and whatnot. Was like Yay Area's Finest. Y'all remember those mixtapes?
His mixtape's crazy.
So I'm a fan. I love his talent. But what we're seeing from him right now is not what we're going to see from him at a contender. I don't want to go see him be like a normal 3-and-D dude. Like, I would like to see him, but I wouldn't like to see him do that.
From what you're saying is you'd rather just not see him. I know you said I want to see him. I know you said I want to see him, but like that's the way. But like that's not true.
I don't want to see him like that. I don't want to see him like that. You know how like you don't want to see Blake Griffin not dunk. Like I don't want to see Blake Griffin. I don't want to see Brown Blake Griffin. I don't like that. That's cool. Hey, you
can still dunk though. I mean, I'm pretty sure
that's not true. I think that Blake Griffin.
Boo. No one cares.
I almost jumped through this camera and smacked the black off my face. Listen. Blake Griffin's disrespected in a couple ways, but the main way I think he's been disrespected is Blake Griffin is the ideal person when it comes to changing your career trajectory, right? The way you played the game, right? Because he went from first full force, dunk on everyone, just pure athletic game, to he got crazy footwork. And the only reason this year he dropped off statistically, if you watch, man, that man don't want to be there. Like, and if you heard him talk in interviews, he like this is like going on to the end of last year too, when he was, doing whatever. He want to win. He don't want to be like, yeah, I like Detroit. But no, at the end of the day, he wanted to win. And in Detroit, you don't win. like you just don't. And they got rid of Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose plays for the Knicks, and the Knicks are, in the playoffs right now. And he wanted to go somewhere else. So he forced their hand, and now he probably gonna win a chip. so I'll knock him. You, for some reason, the last couple of years, have been itching. For the last 3 years, for sure, you've been itching to say he fell off, which he didn't. He did. This year, his stats are low, but it's other reasons why they're low. Before then, he didn't really drop off to a significant amount that you were hoping. I
was hoping.
He got blocked by Jared Allen. This is like 2 years ago, whatever. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe. He got blocked by Jared Allen, and I just get a text. You send me a video, and you send me a text right after that. Man, yeah, he done fell off, man. This isn't Blake Griffin. He's garbage now. All of a sudden, LeBron, that same year, LeBron gets blocked by Jared Allen. Giannis gets blocked by Jared Allen. Anthony Davis gets blocked by Jared Allen. I didn't get no text. Only about Blake. You've been waiting to hate on this light-skinned brother forever. Man, and now, is it you hate Aaron Gordon because of his color? Oh, Andrew, you over just hating light-skinned brothers.
I wish that was a good enough excuse. It is literally their situations. I don't like seeing them in bad situations. Blake Griffin, you gotta admit, there's a difference between the Blake Griffin that we saw for like the first 5 years and the last, like, just 5 years after that. And look, listen to me. As a dude who loves seeing high flying players, these first 5 years, this is the Mozgov era, baby. This is when he was fun. That was 24 points and just dunking on everybody every single night. I do respect his ground game. I think he is one of the best stories of transforming your game so you can play that longer. You know who I also don't exactly find the most fun to watch? Tim Duncan. You know who's extremely skilled? Tim Duncan. Don't want to watch any of his highlights. That's not true. Those defensive highlights are crazy. There are some things that I just don't want to see. And Blake Griffin shooting a 20-foot jump shot. Don't care about it. Aaron Gordon being in like a 3-and-D role where he not exactly able to get loose. Don't really care to see either one of those situations. They would be better for their career. It's not exactly what I'm rooting for as an NBA basketball fan.
Get chips, Kings. Don't let this man bring y'all down. Get y'all money and get y'all rings.
Because you grown men, my opinion don't matter. So you making me happy ain't gonna make you happy. Do what you want.
Who you whispering to?
Know what I want.
Who you whispering to?
You. This is like a subtweet. This is like how you subtweet people in the podcast.
This is
what so
you do. It's like you subtweet the podcast.
Unrelated, even though I'm pretty sure he's gonna be back. Playing for Purdue next year, Jaden Ivey is really good. I just wanted to throw that out there, because I got to see him for the first time. They lost in the first round, but he played very, very good. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. If that is the case, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Traveling Hoopers. Again, I am your host, Alan Pettigrew, signing out. Calvin, let's go ahead and close us out, my guy.
Once again, I'm Calvin McGowan. I'm glad that y'all stuck with us to the end. Of course, you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube if you happen to find us on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, leave something in the comments, maybe about how your bracket, like mine, has also went up in flames days ago. But thank you for being with us, and enjoy the rest of your week.
All right, don't enjoy the rest of your week. But with Philip Dixon, man, go to brotherabe.com, BROTHAABE.com, and look it up. I ain't gonna tell what's on it. Just look it up. Secondly, get your pores cleaned. Get your pores cleaned. Exfoliate your skin. Man, we need to get this shine out here.